ever asked yourself what happens to vapes after they're used? And what role can retailers play in reducing waste? In this episode, we're going to chat with Brett Ormsby from Vapo about VapeCycle, New Zealand's first full vape recycling program, and how simple actions in store can make a real environmental difference. Kia ora, I'm Carolyn Young, Chief Executive of Retail NZ. I'm joined today by Brett Ormsby, who's the National Retail Manager at Vapo. Kia ora, Brett, and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me along today.
Look, it's really great to talk to people when they've got really new initiatives that they're looking at solving a problem. So when you think about VapeCycle, what were you trying to solve and what got you started on this plan?
Yeah, look, that's a really great question. There were a couple of things that we were really conscious of, obviously, with the vape products becoming a more mainstream product for people to be able to transition from cigarettes. And so the first thing that we were really conscious of from our perspective is if we were encouraging smokers to switch, we had to think about the full life cycle of that product. And cigarette butts are one of the most common forms of litter globally. So while vaping reduces harm for people, we didn't want to create a new environmental issue while providing that opportunity for customers. And then with our goal of converting Kiwi smokers to vaping and to be able to better their health, we also wanted to make sure that by doing that, it also minimized and reduced the environmental impact of smoking as well. And then secondly, the other key component was that vapes are quite complex devices. So they're made up of plastics, metals, they have lithium batteries. So they can't go in curbside recycling and they can't go in general rubbish due to fire risks from batteries. So without a proper system in place, they end up going into landfill or they're handled unsafely.
So then how would it work in practice for like a store or a customer? How does VapeCycle help that recyclability of the vape itself?
Yeah, sure. So within our business, we have 33 stores across New Zealand, and each of those stores has a dedicated VapeCycle bin. So all the customers need to do is bring in their used devices, their pods, their empty bottles. They just pop them in those recycling bins, and we take care of the rest for them. We also have a mail-in option for areas within New Zealand that we may not have a store, and they can basically send those in, and we follow the same process with that. And then once all of that is collected or the bins are full, we then send that through to our recycling partner, which is TerraCycle, and then they basically dismantle every component of those devices or bottles or vapes.
And so when they dismantle it, and then obviously different pieces go into different parts of the recycling system.
Yeah, so the plastics are shredded and turned into reusable pellets. The metals are recovered and the batteries are processed safely.
Oh, amazing. So do you have a sense of what impact VapeCycle's had today? And, is there some way other retailers could get involved?
Yeah. So we launched the VapeCycle program in 2019, and since then we've collected over 1 million units of
Oh,
product, and we've diverted over 15,000 kilograms of product going into landfill, which was a huge achievement for us. But beyond the numbers, it's really about just showing accountability and leading by example. And it shows that retailers can take proactive steps rather than just waiting for a regulation change to drive those changes overall. And a really good recent example is we did some cross-sector leadership with an organization called NZ Ski. And they operate the Remarkables and Coronet Peak. And within their environmental and sustainable focus, they wanted to find a way to be able to dispose of vapes that were being found on the slopes during the season and after the season. So we partnered with them, provided them with some bin units and things that they could put outside to manage the collection of those devices. And in one season, we collected over 500 units and stopped that from going into landfill. So not only did it align with what their environmental focus was and sustainability, but they were so happy with the outcome that they've invited us back to participate again this year. So that was a really big win for me. And then in terms of, I guess, how other retailers can get involved, probably firstly, just making sure that their businesses and their staff are aware of the initiative that we actually have. So if they do have team members that vape and stuff and they want to find a way to responsibly dispose of that stuff, we have our stores available for that purpose. And then if they're thinking about some recycling initiatives themselves and they kind of want to flesh it out a little bit, they're more than welcome to reach out to me at brett@vapo.co.nz.
Amazing. And I think if I think about the ski initiative, the great thing about that is that our mountains and our outdoors are so beautiful and pristine that we want to ensure that we protect them as much as possible. 2026 in a modern environment, they're bringing all sorts of different products onto the mountain, and to be able to, safely recycle those empty products in a way in which, feeds back into the community is a really great initiative, and I think all of New Zealand benefits from that. So it's a really great partnership, and really pleased to hear that it's going to continue on for this year as well.
Mm.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Brett. It's been such a pleasure to speak with you and hear how Vapo are taking the initiative and championing in that recycling space within the vaping industry. It's not often that you get to speak to someone that's actually thought about a problem, actually got the solution and put it into action. So, congratulations for that work that you've done.
Thank you very much.
Look, I hope everyone enjoyed this episode today. If you want to know more, don't forget to go to www.vapecycle.co.nz to find out more about the recycling program. This was part of our Empowering Retail series, your go-to resource for actionable insights designed to take your retail business to the next level. Don't forget to watch out for other episodes and subscribe to hear more. Until next time, ka kite anō. Bye for now.